It is time.
This is an album that kind of changed my musical perspective back in the day because it came out in 1991. Yeah, I'm that old. And, it was still kind of like that edge, like the roughest thing. Well, like it's the most popular kind of thing that came out. This kind of had a more rough edge than the hairband thing was, of course, Guns N' Roses, right? LA Guns, that whole movement when they started, and then it kind of took everybody away from like the glam stuff. So I was
Like
coming out of
Kiss?
there. No, Kiss was already kind of there. They were great in the 70s and 80s, but this is a little bit like right at the 90s, right? So more like Slaughter, terrible. But I know that band, like Skid Row, stuff like that. So it was like these hair bands, right? So like when Nirvana came out, that was kind of the death of hair bands. But this kind of came out before that, kind of under the radar in a way. And totally changed my perspective on where music was going to go. It was kind of my first taste of it, and I'd gotten a year in advance, no, about 6 months in advance, like college radio copy of this video, and so I was going to play it for you. It's the Smashing Pumpkins from their 1991 release Gish. This is I Am One on Galaxy Jams Reacts. I've always loved that snare sound.
Yeah, I like the way that the drums sound. That's what I was about to say.
Super wide guitars.
Yes.
I love that.
Setting a nice groove in the beginning. I am getting Nirvana vibes.
It was just like newly introduced kind of to like use a lot in the song was this like sus kind of chording that they did a lot of. It was like A sus4 and stuff like that.
Kind of reminds me of like that Ween song, Dr. Rock.
Kind of like that, yeah.
I feel like this should have been in the soundtrack for one of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater video games.
It probably was. It probably was. What do you think of this, Dylan?
I'm digging it. It's got such high energy and it's really tight. I agree. I really like the drum sounds and I'm a particularly big fan of the width of the guitars. It really makes you feel like you're in it. You're not listening to it. It's not in front of you. You're a part of it. I really dig that. And it's just, man, it's getting me fired up. I needed to drink a cup of coffee before this. I didn't get to, and this is doing it for me.
There you go.
Dude, I totally agree with you because I was noticing that even though that there was guitar the whole time, it was only during the solo where I was like, oh, okay, like there's guitar here, because before it just kind of like meshed into this texture, right? And it was weird because he wasn't playing like the normal way that a guitar player that's going for that was doing. He was like leading the whole time, but then he went from like an 8 to like a 13. You know what I mean? And that's when I was like, oh, okay, it's a classic rock song,
I just really like how like the song's just driven by the bass and drums, right? And everything else is this like sonic landscape that's kind of put over it. And it's playing along with that, but really that's the thing that's holding it together.
It was a lot more.
Yeah.
It was a
Oh
lot
yeah, I was
more.
gonna say the bass guitar is like it sounds like it was played with a pick. I can't tell exactly, but it has that sort of like high endy, lightly distorted pick sound, which when used in the right places, I absolutely love. Most any bass players watching right now are probably like, nah, pick, fuck that. But I think it's great. It's such a vibe.
Well, I really think that this kind of music, you have to use a pick for it to get that
Yeah.
nice
Get it to
attack.
pop out, yeah.
You get a nice attack with it. I mean, you can use your fingers, and that's fine. A lot of people do. I use both, so there you go.
Yeah.
Sounds like a prog band right now.
Yeah.
That voice effect must have been popular in that time frame. So a lot of bands sound
yeah.
like they've been using it.
They made it popular. They were the ones.
Hell yeah, let's go.
I love Jamie Ha's lead guitar sound.
Oh, that drop was cool.
Dude, I like that slow down.
And then a breakdown.
Oh, here we go.
She's a good
I
bass
like how
player,
it's like
her.
a live show music video. I wish
Yeah.
more bands did that.
That's pretty dope.
It's hard to do nicely though. Dang, I've never actually really listened to much Smashing Pumpkins. Have you, Dylan?
No, not really, to be honest with you. Aside from like the bigger hits that everybody knows.
I've never
Right.
heard of this song that we just heard.
Yeah, this
have I.
is their first album. They had this was kind of their hit off the album. This song and a song called Siva, which is very, very good. If you like this song, you'll love the whole entire album. It's pretty much like that. And they have one song that's kind of more like their dreamy stuff that they did a little bit later on. They're more well known for. But great, it's a great album.
And one thing that I really liked is because I noticed that the song was about to end and I was like, oh my God, this song's short as hell. But I feel like I got so much out of it. I felt that there were so many different parts that it's so weird because when you look at the song on paper and you look at what it is, it's not that complicated. It's not that many parts, but I felt like when I was listening to it, it was like this really, really like old developed sound that was like on purpose, which like I knew exactly what they were going for. And you're right. Like it sounds like a lot of bands because a lot of bands tried to sound like this.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what, listening to the OGs, that's what that's like when you listen to one of those bands. It's kind of like I feel like Tycho is like that, where so many people are coming out with like synthwave music trying to sound like Tycho. And he's one of the first people to make that kind of like melancholy, dance but not dance type of vibe. And I feel like this band does a good job at paying tribute to the greats because I can hear the influences, but also making like their own unique thing.
Oh yeah, a lot of people tried to do what they did. One of the ones that kind of made it that sounded a lot like them were Silver Sun Pickups.
Right.
That was a band that
yeah.
they sound a lot like the Smashing Pumpkins, but Smashing Pumpkins were way before them. So
Yeah, I liked how it was really groove oriented. It was like a hair metal band, but you gave them like some psychedelics so that they kind of like stretched the song out,
Yeah.
but not like that long. But they kind of like I feel like hair metal. They're so like right to it. Like you come into the song and then it's like wham, they're already going. And this, it was like they took some time to develop, and I feel like it's something like a hallmark of like a shift from the normal like stack of cards that bands at that time played with.
right, I always felt like they pretty much did they were like a combination of like a psychedelic grunge,
Yeah, that's what I would
indie band,
right
/ metal band,
and they're psychedelic in like a more nuanced way than
Right.
like a straight up like this is trippy to listen to. It's more like what psychedelic music was, which is like finding those grooves and like carrying them forever, essentially.
and they're one of those bands that if you give them the chance and listen to a lot of Smashing Pumpkins, you'll realize that they have so many different corners that they go to and musically, and they're not just probably what you think they sound like. So,
And I like how
good
they
band
went for
to get
that
into.
big guitar solo.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good. Yeah, that was really cool. I never really listened to them, but the more that you show them on the show, the more I'm like, oh my god, I really want to listen to more.
It's funny enough because it's like that with Radiohead for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the moment you started showing me that, I was like, I actually really like this. This is good.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that guitar solo is pretty sweet. I mean, there were
It was.
2 solos going on in the back end of the
Oh.
song. Like right after we took that little break and we started, that solo that came up, it was like normally, 2 guitar solos at once, not you really working out a coordinated part. It sounds like Guitar Center on a Saturday afternoon. But like it was really cool. It worked, which is a difficult thing to pull off, I think.
Oh yeah.
You're right, because when you watch Humphreys McGee and you got Jake and Brendan, like when they're doing it, they do like they're locked in like a certain way, right? They're
Oh,
doing
yeah.
like the same shit, like they're like do, right? But this, you're right, it wasn't like that, and yet it was still sounding good and not just like a bunch of like floundering bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally.
Hi, this is Mike with Galaxy Jams Reacts. We hope that you enjoyed that React video. Be sure to check out the links below of when we're going to be live streaming our next show and also how to watch full episodes. Please hit that subscribe button. Every single one helps.